Start your 2021. Go to www.vanessaklinger.com. Click the free book giveaway button. Complete your details, and I will ship a free book to you. Stay in love. Are you tired of being stung by outrageous nail prices? Well, you don't have to worry about that at Queen Bee Nail Hive. Contact Queen Bee herself, servicing the Tampa Bay area. 813-414-1405. That's 813-414-1405. Queen Bee Nail Hive. Come be pollinated. Hello, everyone. Vanessa Klinger here, your intuitive life strategist and life coach motivator. Would you like to be a guest on our talk show, Spiritually Speaking, with my co-host, Michelle Massey Washington? Well, go out to the website, www.vanessaklinger.com, complete the form, and your sponsorship includes a guest spot. We look forward to meeting you and highlighting your product, service, or event. Stay in love.
This is thy kingdom come. Let the spirit of the Holy One pass over. Let your peace cover the earth. Lord, let your will be done. This is the time to take a stand, to let the world know that you can. You can face tomorrow, but today is the day that you say,
Ready?
I will reign.
Michelle.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Welcome to Spiritually Speaking. I am Vanessa Klinger, your intuitive life strategist.
And I am Michelle, the motivator.
Yay.
Happy New Year.
Happy
I'm
New Year.
excited.
Me too,
Yeah.
girl. Me too. Did
Yeah.
you feel the energy New Year's Eve? It was like for me, it was like I was so grateful and just, I felt as though I had just completed something. You know what I mean? Like I had done well. You know, it's
Yeah.
like I had a check off in my spirit because I had made it through an interesting year that we had for 2020. I know
Yeah,
you.
good.
I know you did, girl. You had a pop quiz. You had a final exam, didn't you? Didn't it feel like that?
Yes. I don't want to take it no more. So I hope to God I passed it because I don't want to go through that anymore. I don't get when people go through things and they don't learn from it, so they have to do it again. That's why some of us go through the same thing over and over and over because we don't get it the first time. And some people didn't get the vision in 2020. So in 2021, they're going to have to take the test again. And I don't want to take the test anymore.
Right. And because it was a conclusion of a lot of things. It was a conclusion astrologically with, the planets all and residing in, kind of an earth signs, which represents building and structure and tradition and all of that. And it transitioned into Aquarius, which is air, which, is more of your way of thinking and how, so all of that. In my way, I felt it was everything was kind of crumbling, the old systems. And, so now it's going to all revolve around how people think. And, if your way of thinking is not, of God and of unconditional love, that, a lot of people may struggle, and may have, like you said, go through even more tests. In my opinion.
Yeah, well, basically, people that did not get the vision of 2020, the hindsight, they're going to be searching for normal, and they won't find it because it's an illusion. And so it's going to be troubling for them because they're still looking for normal, can't find normal because we were conditioned that was, and it never was. And so it's going to cause them to go through. The only difference between 20 2020 and 2021 will be nothing if you didn't learn any from it. It'll just be a number. It won't be any great things happening unless you change your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I say those that choose not to be awake, those that choose to continue to sleep, will just experience a repeat. It's kind of like the children of Israel, right at the
Yes.
land of milk and honey, but going in a circle because they refused to wake up. They refused to be enlightened. They wanted to reflect back to what was instead of what is.
Mm-hmm. And what
So
was promised, you know.
right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that
I
that's
love
that's the
that.
only reason I say that. If
Mm-hmm.
you're not prepared for the atmosphere, it's just like the atmosphere is not there. So you have to be prepared for the atmosphere because you cannot respond to something that you're not aware of. So your perception has to be keen and in tune and join with whatever God is doing.
That's right. That's right, girl. That's amazing. Well, that's a whole nother video. And I'm sure we'll be covering that in 2021 because we are going through our intention, ladies and gentlemen, for 2021. We're going through the entire Bible. We're in Genesis right now, and we've made it to Noah, Genesis chapter 6. I'm going to run a couple of ads, and then we're going to get right into Genesis, and we're going to be talking about Noah, time to build. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So stay tuned. Hello, 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 everyone. It is a new year, new season, new everything. So join me Friday on the Right Along with Vanessa Morning Show for another exciting topic and another word that's going to bring you the raw, real enlightenment and encouragement that you need for 2021. Join me, won't you? Stay in love. This week's episode is sponsored by Dollhouse of Tampa Salon and Studio, where the inner doll is created. Styling services they offer are sew-ins, quick weaves, relaxers, facial waxing, eyelash extensions, and much, much more. It's time for you to find your inner doll. Contact Selena today, serving the Tampa Bay and surrounding areas of Florida. And make sure you follow them on Instagram and Facebook. Start your 2021. Go to www.vanessaklinger.com. Click the free book giveaway button. Complete your details, and I will ship a free book to you. Stay in love. All right. So you saw the ad there, ladies and gentlemen. You can go out to vanessaklinger.com, click the free book button, and fill in your details, and I will send you a free copy of my books. So that's just as a courtesy and what I have to offer at helping my purpose at spreading as much enlightenment and tools and techniques that I have found that works for me, and so that it will equip you and empower you to take on 2021, because a number of you are going to have to play catch up. You're just going to play catch up. But guess what? God's grace is sufficient. So, you're right where you're supposed to be at the right place at the right time. And it's just your job to comply, to lean in to where and how spirit and where it's taking you so that you can cross over into the land of milk and honey. All right, my dear, we're talking about Noah. Time to build. All right, my love, go ahead.
We kind of established last week that Noah meant rest and comfort. And so he was chosen by God because of who he was and that he walked closely with God. And so sometimes we think that we're only chosen because of talents or because of gifts or because of who we know or titles. But God looks at the heart. He does not look at any of that people are looking at. And so sometimes, and I believe in this time, God is going to choose those who have humbled themselves before his mighty hand. And I believe that Noah had did that. It said he was perfect in the eyes of God. And so a lot of times we look at perfection as no flaws, but perfect in the eyes of God means his heart was ready. His heart was prepared to be obedient to God. And so when we start in Genesis 6, we got up to 14, where it says he got the command for God to make thee an ark of gopher wood. Room shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it within and without with pitch. And so I was kind of confused about that pitch, but I kind of equated it with baseball. That once the ball is pitched to you, you have to make the decision as to whether you're going to hit it or not. You have to make the decision on whether you're going to swing or you're going to look at it. And so the word ark means a vessel or sanctuary that serves as protection against extinction. So what the ark was for.
Say that again, co-host. Ark is what now?
A vessel or sanctuary that serves as protection against extinction.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Against this, say that extinction?
Like being extinct.
Yeah.
From being extinct. Yes.
Wow.
So in this day and time, as we're looking at it, God has been giving us ways in 2020 to build this protection from being extinct, to build this protection to encompass ourselves into. He's told us to go in. The ark was something that you had to go in. It wasn't a regular type apparatus where you was on the outside. So the building of the ark was significant to where we are now, because God is saying, and I talked to you last week about, let's move from our head thinking first to our heart thinking, and then line up our head with it. Instead of doing this, we want to go from here to here. And so that way we can line up and we can balance with what God is saying to us. As we talked before, everybody is not awake to what has just happened. They are still searching for normal. And they're searching for man's normal, not God. But God is never normal. He's creative, and he always continues to create. He always does a new thing. So people get excited about a new year. But when we talk about it's time to build, God gave Noah some instructions on how to build. And the thing about Noah is he followed directions. And I like to say what the pill bottle said: for best results, follow the directions. We have a problem with that. We have a problem. We want to twist it a little bit. If he said go 2 steps to the right, we want to take one and then skip one. So we've got to be hearing what the Spirit is saying specifically in order for us to go through this without trial and error. We don't have to do that.
Yeah, and I would like to imagine in my spiritual imagination that how Noah found grace and favor with God was that he was listening with his heart. He was being compelled with his heart, and that's how he was communing with God in his heart. And that's how he found grace and favor with God. And like you said, so many people are not, they're not getting it. They're not listening. They're caught up in their intellect and what's going on around them. And they're distracted by all this madness and this nonsense that's being televised and advertised and promoted, that they're losing sight of what's most important as to what just happened, what 2020 just represented. 2020 was supposed to wake up some, equip others with better vision.
Yeah.
And to also for everybody to provide the hindsight.
Yes.
You know what? That I shouldn't have done that. I decide to do something different now. And that's a change of my and you know what? Also 2020 was a year of repentance.
Right.
It should have been.
And repentance just means return back to your original state. See, everybody's looking at the sin part, but the Reese says return back to your original state. And if you turn back to your original state, then sin is automatically going to fall off, because you didn't know anything about sin from your original state, because that was before you were in the matrix, before you were in the womb. And when God knew you, and he planted a seed in you to know how, the same thing he did with Jesus. He planted
Yep.
the seed in Jesus too. So we got the same information, and we are seeds, and we get very upset when people throw dirt on us. But we're a seed. We will always prevail through dirt. We will always come to the top. That's what make us grow. And so we're trying to avoid dirt when we're a seed. That is what makes us grow. We're trying to avoid sometimes tears, but the
Mm-hmm.
watering. We try to avoid the heat, but the sun. And so all the things that we try to avoid, Noah did not. He did not try to figure it out with his head, his intellect. He listened to the heart. He listened to the small voice that was in the heart, and he followed directions. You got to understand, they knew nothing about rain. So if God tells you something that nobody else knows anything about, will you listen and just trust him? Trust yourself to trust him and move upon it, because there are going to be some times in 2021 that God's going to tell you some things that nobody else knows anything about. And when you begin to tell other people what he told you, they're going to call you crazy, or they're going to not believe you. But you stick to the
And they're
plan.
going to laugh at you.
Yes,
They're
they
going
will
to
do
laugh
that.
at you. What are
Yes,
you
they will
talking about?
mock
That's
you.
never been done before. What are you talking
Right.
about? We've never even heard of such a thing.
We never even heard of COVID-19 before. We never even heard of a whole country, a whole planet shutting down because of a virus we never heard of that. We never heard of any of this. We never heard of walking around all day with a mask on. Never, unless it was Halloween, and that was just for a day. But
Mm-hmm.
now, those are some things we never heard of. So if someone
Mm-hmm.
had come to us and said, there's going to be a virus and it's going to make a lot of people sick and kill a lot of people, because you have to understand, everything that's created, God allows man the possibilities and the opportunities to create.
Mm-hmm.
Everything, good, bad, ugly, and indifferent.
That's right.
How a man chooses to create, it depends on their enlightenment. It depends on their energy. It depends on where they are. And
Right.
so as we move forward, not backwards, not looking for normal, as we move forward, we are building an ark so that we don't become extinct in our own true being, in our own greatest version of ourselves. This is
Mm-hmm.
more personal. This this
Mm-hmm.
this year is
Yes.
going to be so much more personal within
Yep.
yourself. This is
Right.
going to build the wisdom within yourself. My
Mm-hmm.
prayer to God is not just let me have knowledge and wisdom, but let me know how to use it, and let me use it with unconditional love, and let me not get caught up in myself and get the light shining on me, and nobody sees God. So it's not going to be enough to have wisdom and know it, but you're going to have to know how to apply it. And it's going to be a personal journey this
Right.
year. It's
Right.
going to include everybody, but everybody personally. So
And it's
so
going
that's
to,
kind of exciting to
yeah,
me.
it's exciting, but it's going to require that
Oh
each
yes.
and every one of you, because five, I talked about this on Right Along with Vanessa on Friday,
Mhm.
that the number five is a year of change, a year of positive change.
Right.
However, that change may require demolishment, transformation in every form that is required of you, whether you're going to
Yes.
have to be mentally transformed, physically transformed. I know that's me, physically
Yes.
transformed. I know that it's time for me now to focus on my health,
Yes.
to really focus on getting my health back, because that requires a physical transformation. But the result is going to be positive change. Why is it going to be positive? Because I'll be able to wear the clothes I've always wanted to wear. I'll be healthier, right?
Right.
And a lot of people really they should have used last year to really focus on that, to gain the hindsight, to get the insight as to what they're going to need to do for this year, which is a 5
Right.
year. It's a global 5 year. So
Right.
change, it's imminent. It's happening.
and God is going to give you the grace to change. So that's going to be that added bonus,
Yes.
that unmerited favor.
Yes.
The things
Yes.
that used to be hard for you to
Mhm.
change will
Right.
be an easy access. And
Right.
for that reason,
That's
we
true.
will be able to change in multiple ways. He's also going to take the time and space out of it. You know how we have to make up our mind to do stuff. We're going to start doing stuff immediately. We're not going to say,
Mhm.
"Well, I'm going to start doing this
So,
on Monday."
so get her done.
The moment that it hits your heart, you're going to begin to move in it. So it may be in the middle of the week. It may be in the end of the week. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter what time of the week that you start, but what matters is that you start. And so
Right.
as we looking at this arc, it's building you. It's building you to a greater place, and you'll be able to weather all the storms. Your storms won't look like they used to because your perception would have changed. And I
Mhm.
looked at the ark, and then I'm saying, okay, well, there was the ark of the covenant.
Mhm.
And so, how does God associate? Remember, everything is psychological in the Bible. It's a mind thing. It's an
Mhm.
enlightenment thing. It's your level of consciousness thing.
Yep.
It's so exciting that it grows however you grow. If you
Yep.
don't grow, it's gonna stay where it is. But if you grow, it's gonna allow you to expand and go
Right.
deeper in God. So the Ark of the Covenant,
Yep.
it carried the five commandments.
Mhm.
So the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments are not the Ten Commandments. They are the Ten Commandments. Now, I got that from Reverend Ike. The Ten Commandments. So if you look at the commandments, there are things that you need to keep in your mind. There are things that you need to plant. Remember how we used to say, I learned that by heart? And we
Mhm.
don't say that anymore because we put everything in a phone. And that's
Mhm.
probably why people are suffering with memory loss and dementia and all
Mhm.
of those things, because we stopped exercising our brain and we
Mhm.
start letting the computer hold everything that our brain was doing. So the cells do not increase or multiply like they should because we're not using it. But the commandments are really the commandments. And so God is sheltering those things within your mind. Remember your heart mind first and then your head mind. He's restoring those things back into your ark. He's restoring those things back into your mind. He's bringing you to a place of royalty. I'm saying for 2021, this is the season of royalty and riches. So you can't have royalty without riches, and you can't have riches without royalty. And in the way that God gives it. Now, there are some riches out there that you got to pay a price for. But as God moves us, as He moved Noah, in order for us to get into rest and comfort, we're going to have to follow directions. First of all, you're going to have to hear what God is saying. If you can't hear Him, you can't follow directions. Then you're going to have to follow directions to the key. And as you do that, then God is going to begin to move you in a place that you've never been before. Yes, people will laugh. People will talk. They've been doing that anyway. So we ought to be used to that. I'm used to them saying all sorts of things about me, but I always tell my kids, just because somebody says something about you doesn't mean it have to be true unless you agree with it. So we're in a place where we need to grow up. We need to grow up. If you are being, I always say, if you're offended by something somebody said, there's a little bit of truth in it. Because if it wasn't some truth in it, you wouldn't even get mad about it. I can't hear you.
Because I was muted. What you talking about, Willis? Are you telling me that when I'm offended by certain things, there's a
Yeah,
thread of truth in it?
it's a thread of truth in it, because otherwise it wouldn't even bother you.
That's the truth. That's the
Right.
truth.
So
So
when we
why waste that energy getting offended when if someone says
clean it
something,
up,
you need to
right,
check it.
and
I
clean it
advise
up.
check it and say, wait a minute, Spirit, is that true about me?
Yes,
Spirit gonna answer.
yes,
That's right.
yes,
That's right.
yes.
That's right.
And and so as we move into growing up and taking responsibility for our greatness, for who we are, for our power, and we stop fooling with foolishness and
Yeah.
then concentrate on what we are put here for, what our purpose is. 9 out of 10 people, if you ask what your purpose is, they'll say, I don't know.
That's right.
And it's I don't say I don't know anymore, because God said if you lack wisdom, ask. So if there's something I don't know and the kingdom of God is working in me, then I should be able to go within and find out before saying, I don't know. I don't know
Right.
is just easy to say. But this is also going to be a year you got to study. And you got to go outside the Bible too. You got to do the Bible and some more stuff. You got to know.
Well, see, this is the great thing about it, and wow, how this is lining up with what we're talking about tonight. Noah. Now, see, I honestly believe in my heart that he found favor and grace with God because he walked with God in his heart. He obtained counsel from his heart, and you know, this is gonna the segue into the next part of what we're talking about, is because he obeyed something that was asked of him to do, and people, you know, let's get back to that part of it about when he started building. You know, once he received the instructions, then what happened?
Then as he began to build, which is the same thing, we already talked about the criticism will come. Criticism will come because, man, you crazy. You talking about rain. We don't even know what rain is. And so you're building this big contraption, and for what? And they laugh. But the very people that laugh at you will be the ones that when the rain starts, they'll come looking for you. So as he began to build that, he followed step by step. Now, mind you, some of the things that God was saying, try to figure it out. If you look at it literally, okay, if you don't know what gopher wood is and where to find it, because I was looking it up and they said gopher wood was basically is basically grown in Florida. So let's say it's one location that has this gopher wood. That means you got to travel to go get the gopher wood and then bring it back and then do the next step. So your steps have been ordered by the Lord. So he had to follow step by step. And whatever you do, don't miss a step, because God knows everything you're going to need in order to build this personal art that he is designing for you, you and only you. You should even feel special that you're not doing what everybody else is doing, that you're creating something different because God is designing this art for you.
Now, wait a minute, because let me just say this, because now, and she touched on that earlier, ladies and gentlemen, about your purpose. And, you know, everyone's purpose is different, right? So that's why it's so important that you go within to be made aware of what that is, right? Some people may be required to raise godly minded children.
Yeah. Some
people may be required to do this or do that. So don't misconstrue what she's saying. She's saying that, you know, if you seek counsel, go within. That's what that means. Go and seek counsel within your heart. Then every step you take, you'll know. It'll line up. And dig this now, Michelle. If you do that, you won't have to try to be looking for nothing.
Right, because it'll find you.
Right. And you know what? I want to put a little, you know, hot sauce in the story. I bet you somebody came from Florida, said, you know what, didn't know it was Florida. No, I got all this wood over here. Noah probably said, yes, I do.
Right. And so God, that's why I say you'll find grace and favor. And whatever he's telling you to do to build, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. And it's not going to be hard for you to find everything and every step that he's taking. People will come to you. You won't have to go to them to find it. Your blessings will run you down. You know, you'll turn around and somebody will tell you, here, I got this for you. And God would have just told you, this is what I want you to do. So there are going to be some people that come your way that are looking for somebody to put on a TV show. That's looking for somebody to, I mean, they will find you.
That's true.
But
That's true.
we have to be ready. We have to, he's looking for a bride without a spot or wrinkle. That just means a ready bride. A bride that it doesn't have to say, well, let me go put my dress on. Well, let me go do this. But be wrapped tight and ready to roll.
Right, and the thing is, and a lot of people are going to be familiar about that because they say, whatever it is that you are desiring for to have in your life, you prepare for that. Like if you want to, let's say, okay, my one of my wishes is to go to Italy. I always wanted to go to Italy, and they say you need to, pack a bag and pick out pictures and all this kind of stuff and put a vision board. So. Mm-hmm. The same applies where it should be applying with your purpose. So right. I can only talk about myself. So getting everything ready, and I started out on YouTube and just recording videos and loading them up, and I because of my ministerial training that I had, mm-hmm. right, from Bible college and being under leadership of Pastor Paula White and Bishop mm-hmm. Dennis Leonard. That was like 10 years, right? So right. when I started doing the YouTube blog, mm-hmm. I was already had been trained and conditioned on how to write topics and how to research and study and doing all that. So what I'm talking about is your purpose should be just as important as wanting to go to Italy.
Right.
More
because
important.
all of that will come. Say,
exactly.
Seek ye first the kingdom, and all these other things will be added. And so as you're seeking God, he knows your desire to want to go to Italy. Now, right. he could have someone from Italy call you, and he could have just gave you an assignment, and the assignment end up in Italy. So that's why I mean you have to trust yourself, to trust God, and stop trying to figure out how he's right. going to do this, or how right. am I going to do this. Most right. of us do not start doing anything because we don't see the money, or we don't see this, or we don't right. see that. And we have to stop moving with our eyesight and mm-hmm. return to our insight and our intuition. Right. Because if God gave Noah these plans, do you not think he's not going to make sure that everything he wants done through Noah is provided if he is a provider? See, we worry about the wrong stuff.
Exactly.
We should just carry out the information that God has told us to do. And that's what Noah did. And I promise you, Noah probably didn't know what the heck he was doing. He wasn't no carpenter. He wasn't no builder.
I would like to believe that, because he communed with God, God shared with them, because he told him, he said, look, it's too much wickedness going on. Right. I'm getting ready to destroy it. And right. I need you to build something to keep whatever it is that I want you to load onto this thing from being extinct. Now, think about it now, because we all know the story. Y'all all know the story. You know the cartoon. You done watched it. You grew up. You understand what happened. The Lord told him to bring two of each animals. Two, male and female, presumably. Two animals, or two of each. Now, dig this now, Michelle. This what I really... I was like, look at that. I said, now the Lord didn't tell him to go get any of them people. He told him to go get the animals. Mm-hmm. And he left.
The only people was his family.
Right. And mm-hmm. that, you know what that says to me? That says to me that because God is going to, and he's done it. He's always done it. Raise up people that are building an ark of safety, whatever it is, the enlightenment, a word, whatever it is. And it's your job that if he makes that aware to you, that if you because it's foreign, because it's something new, you never looked at it that way, you're gonna laugh at it. But could this be your ark of safety? Because while they were laughing at him, now he kept building. And then when it got closer and closer, he said, okay, now go get the animals. He was listening to God's instructions. So he loading up the animals. They say, they're still laughing at, we ain't seen no rain. Then a couple drizzle drops come down. They still laughing now.
Till it got severe and they started knocking.
Now, if I had felt one drop of water, I would be like, hey, Noah, I can make some good biscuits because my mama done taught me. Can I be on your boat? Girl, I would have, you know what I mean? But because they were so wicked, they couldn't see or hear or maybe even feel what was coming.
Mm. So again, we're saying we ignore the warnings that God sends us because the warnings do not come from who we think they should come. And once we do that, then we begin to deviate and get distracted.
And
get distracted.
And you know, we're just, the whole intention and purpose behind this show is to help to expand your consciousness, ladies and gentlemen, to help you to see God's word from a different perspective.
Right.
And hopefully encourage you so that you can study to show your own self-approved, so that we want to bring people back to the Bible, but looking at it differently, Michelle.
Well,
that's what I want. I mean, I start there, because if you're open, you're going to take that scripture, and if you keep doing it, then hi Kyle, how are you, dear? If you keep doing it, then your spirit will show you enlightenment and other things. We're not talking just focus on the Bible now, because Michelle and I did not get this enlightenment just by reading the Bible.
No. That's really offending to a lot of people. Exactly. But if God says all things work together for your good, then why do we stop at one thing? Why do we rule out everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly? My desire for this year is to look at everything, no matter whether it's good or bad, and find out what lesson I'm to focus on. What am I to perceive out of this? Where am I to go with this? We always stop. And then once we stop, then we're stuck in a box.
Right.
So one thing I too want to point out is that the ark was not forever. It was only for a time, a reason, and a season. And so sometimes when God does something for us, we believe that it's forever. But sometimes he's building things to protect you or extend you or teach you or bring you to a certain place. So the ark was only for the 40 days and 40 nights that it rained. After the rain, the ark was not used. So it's like God puts us, even 2020, it was for a time and a season. He put us inside. Now it's time for us to come out with some substance, with some knowledge, with some wisdom, with some responsibility, with some hispah, some power.
Right.
We gotta confess the church has gotten weak, and we had to be stopped so that we could regroup. I'm calling it Project Reset.
All right. So we're going to talk about that. Okay. Because this is, okay. Because I stayed until the lights was being shut off, at the church, because I was just, that's my personality. I'm all about commitment and whatnot. But all the while now, Spirit is telling me, you see that? Do you see that? And it got so to the point where, my pain, spiritual pain threshold is really high. So it has to get so painful for me. And that I'm just like, you know what? This is not good. This is not good. And make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, the church is great. But God is doing a new thing. He's doing a new thing. And if you guys, all you Bible thumpers, if you don't read the Bible, every time there was always something wrong with the church. Now remember, and God had to raise up a prophet and everything. Because remember, I don't know what scripture it is, but I'm gonna find it. But where the men and stuff was sleeping with the women, it was just corrupt. So if you notice, every time there's a season where we allow ourselves, we run back to God, and we start following him and doing it, and then it turns wicked. And this was
Right.
the same thing with Noah's time. It got so wicked and so corrupt that God said, you know what? I can't take it. I can't take it. And that wasn't the first time. Now, this is Genesis. This was the start of it. And as we go through the Bible, we'll highlight some of these instances where God did the same thing. Now, this was something new with regard to how he eliminated the wickedness, and he told him, he said, look, go get 2 by 2, get them on there. Now, we were talking about what did you do with 2020 while you were quarantined, while you were confined? Did you complain about the stinkiness of some of the animals or something you had to hang out with and stay in your house? Were you complaining about that? Did you lose focus on how you were protected and how God carried you through this storm? You were protected. You were guarded. You may have lost your job, but you got some food stamps. You may have run out of money, but then you got people that went out for you and did this for you and brought you money and all this kind of stuff. Did you lose sight on how God carried you and protected you? Did you do something?
Well, another thing we'll have to deal with within ourselves is murmuring and complaining.
Oh, Lord, girl, I keep telling you, that's
once we accomplish that and we replace the murmuring and complaining with gratefulness, as I told you all before, when I was in the hospital, God said, my people are so ungrateful. And I heard it with a sorrowful heart. If God had like emotions, like it would be like me saying my kids, they just so ungrateful.
Right.
And it would be like me feeling that. And that's how I felt it when I heard it. And I was like, what if my kids were like that? They were just so ungrateful, how I would feel. And so, although God doesn't feel to that capacity because he's a spirit, but that's how I heard it. And it hurt me because me and God are one, and that hurts me. So my thing now,
that's how, in my opinion, my love, that's how spirit talks to us, and it makes us aware of with our feelings.
Right.
So when we do something that pleases spirit, we feel joy.
Right. So it was a compassion that I have now that people know that I'm grateful. Now, I can't make you be grateful. I can only tell you what he told me or what I heard in the spirit. But gratefulness, he explains to me, opens the door for more. So as you begin to just be grateful for what you have, it opens the door. Because wouldn't you want to give your kids more if they were more grateful? You wouldn't mind going the extra mile. You wouldn't mind giving extra. And so I'm telling you, for 2021, all you have to do is be grateful. Not all, but one of the greatest things you can do is just be grateful. 10 minutes of gratefulness empowers your immune system. So it's going to empower your physical immune system as well as your spiritual immune system. Just saying thank you, God. Just waking up saying thank you. Instead of waking up saying, oh, it's another day I got to go going through
that. But listen, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a living witness. I used to stand in front of my mirror because I watched all these YouTube self-help videos and all this kind of stuff because I really wanted to feel better. I really did. They said, just stand in the mirror and start expressing gratitude. And thank you, Dr. Bob Proctor. I am so happy and grateful. That was my affirmation. And I just filled in the blank. And I used to stand in front of my mirror and I would be just filled with all kind of junk, envy, jealousy, heartache, pain, all the stuff that I had experienced, right? But I had not allowed myself to get rid of. It was just like luggage. I was like that song, Bag Lady. I had all this baggage, just spiritual baggage. So, of course, it's going to feel like you, because your mind don't believe it, your subconscious don't believe it, but make no mistake, if you keep repeating, I am so happy and grateful that I have, or I am. I encourage you guys to start with I am. I am so happy and grateful that I am filled with joy. I am so happy and grateful that I am happy all the time. I'm so happy and grateful that I am surrounded with peace and whatever it is that you feel that you're lacking. Now, even when it feels as if your world has fallen apart, that the rug has been pulled out from under you. I remember, Michelle, girl, I was about to be evicted again. Because why? I ran out of money again. So I'm standing in the mirror, right? Tears running down my face. I'm so happy and grateful that I am safe and, everything. I'm so happy and grateful that I have a place to live and all this stuff. Now, because it didn't show up the way I thought it was, I had to humble myself under the mighty hand of God, because it took my auntie calling me, and I'm crying. I'm like, I'm so tired of just not being able to take care of myself and all. She said, look, she said, you're still here, right? She said, you pack up your car and you go over there to cousin such and such house and you sleep on her couch and you get yourself together. Now, it took that because I was still safe, provided for, got back on myself feet emotionally, got another job, kept going. And girl, I'm gonna wrap it up because I gotta share with about it, because I'm telling you, God is faithful. Now, I remember this was 2014, 2015, and it got really bad. I mean, and it was my birthday, and they turned my phone off, right? And I'm pleading with them. I'm saying, look, I got because my unemployment kind of with the timing was off, right? So I was going to get the unemployment. I was going to pay my phone bill, but they terminated the service, right? So, and I remember typing on Facebook, and my cousins, my family can test on Facebook in history. I think it was 2014. This is the worst day of my life. I typed it on Facebook that very same day. Now, dig this, Michelle. I'm going through my emails because I went over my parents' house because they had Wi-Fi, so I tapped into that so I could still use my phone and stuff. I'm looking at my emails, and there's an email about a job, right? And they want to set up an interview and this and that. So I'm like, I'm gonna do that, right? That was the right question. Now I ain't got no phone and all this stuff. I asked, how am I gonna do that? So I'm looking at it and I'm like, yes, I would love to interview. Although my world, I didn't had nothing, I still did something. I said, how am I gonna do that? And I said, yes, I would like to interview. And they said, well, they will be calling you. They would give you a dial-in number and everything. So I went over, I said, Mom, I need to use your phone. Thank God they still had a landline. And set up, and that was on a Friday, right? Friday, got the email, made a call. Monday, they reached out to people. Tuesday, I had the interview. Wednesday, I had a job. You see what I'm saying? Making more money than where I come from. You see what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? You have to, in spite of what I was saying in my affirmations and stuff, God's grace, and he will, if you just keep going and in spite of everything that's happening, and not complain about all of this that's going on, his grace is sufficient to get you to that place to show you that he's for you.
All right. And that's why I said, as you become more grateful, you open the door for more to come to you. And that is the real power of attraction. It's not so much in you saying that thing as you being grateful to God and trusting him that he said whatever you need, that he was going to supply for it.
Right.
See, we've been conditioned to look at what's outside of us. And so we compare that. That's what we want. He said, if I'm your shepherd, you shall not want. He said, I will supply your need according to his riches and glory. And so we got to close our physical eyes because it's illusional.
Right.
Some of this stuff that we're desiring, we don't need. Somebody else got it, so we want it. And that's just being honest. A lot of things you really, and then once you get it, you don't really want it. You don't do nothing with it. It's just a waste. So I've learned, because this month I'm going to be 58. That's what the numbers say. But I stopped at 56 because they told me you don't have to age. So I'm growing in wisdom rather than aging. As people looking forward to aging, but I'm looking forward to becoming more wiser, It's good to be here, but it's no good being here if you're not wise in the things of God and what he's doing for you. So I believe Noah had become wise in the things that he walked in, that he had experienced. I believe he had humbled himself before the mighty hand of God. Now, I'm not going to tell you that during this walk of building this ark, he didn't have questions, or he didn't have some doubt try to sneak in, or he didn't have some frustration. You will have those things, but it's how you perceive them. My perception of trouble is not trouble anymore. My perception of trouble is an opportunity for God to show me something. My perception of failure is not failure anymore, because God told me it's not failure, it's just another opportunity for you to do it another way. So you've got to show a different kind of insight rather than eyesight as to what's going on in your life. It's not as bad as it looks, because it's an illusion. If you're looking at it, it's an illusion. And so in this 5-dimensional state of atmosphere that we're walking in, you have got to perceive your situation different. That's what Noah did. Noah found in his, every time somebody said Noah, it was rest and comfort. So I'm sure that God gave him that. Every time he gave him instructions, he gave him rest and comfort. So as we begin to move forward in 2020, the thing says that God made a covenant with Noah. A covenant is an agreement. We have an agreement.
Yes,
As
we
a
do.
man thinketh, as a man thinketh, so is he. And that's an agreement with God. God said, however you think, I'm going to agree with you, and you got it. Good,
Right.
bad, or ugly. My answer is yes and amen. And so we've
Mhm.
got to start thinking better.
Right. And talking better.
Yeah,
Because it said, "Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be established." What do you think that
right.
means? That's why you have to be focused and mindful of what you're saying. Oh my
It's
goodness!
lining up. It's lining up.
All you got to do, you keep saying it, and then eventually, your
It
mind,
lines
your
up.
heart, your subconscious is going to agree with you. And next thing you know, you done gave birth to it, and now your mind done created a scenario, and that's what's going to happen. So
And
why not?
I actually, within my heart, know that them diagnosing me with COVID provided me with an experience to help somebody else through that.
Of
Because
course.
it is a mental virus, and my cousin has been diagnosed with it. So when I call her, I'm talking to her mental. I'm talking to her mental, because you are separated, and when you're separated from those you love, everything starts. So I'm grateful. I didn't want to have that, but I'm grateful that I went through it, because every sickness is not unto death. And so as we begin to go through things, you're prepared for such a time as this. You're ready.
Right.
You are ready,
Right.
set, go. And you're ready to slay every giant that
Every
raises his
giant.
head.
Every giant. However,
Yeah.
you need to. I mean, if you guys spent 2020 watching all that madness and nonsense, um,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
all you did was being programmed to believe. And if you're programmed to believe something, it must come to pass. So
Yes.
might I just encourage each and every one of you who are watching and listening, turn the doggone TV off. Uh,
Especially the news.
girl, yes.
Especially the news.
Oh my goodness. Because all it is, it's programming to program fear and
Yes.
intimidation and
Yes.
division
Yes.
into
Television.
God's.
Mm. Tell a vision. That's all it does. It tells you a vision, and then you get that vision, and then you begin to create something greater. All they have to do is put a seed out there, and then social media gets it, then the news gets it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're operating in seed, and they're saying, this is what they're saying. Now, this is when and I'm going to close it. This is when the people of God, the people that are called by his name, need to intercede in this. When they're saying it's about to get worse, do not repeat that. Do not say that. Do not think that.
Well,
You
for
have
one
got
thing,
to see. Yes.
yeah, and for one thing, if you stop watching it and stop reading, whatever it is, you just scroll on by, whatever. Find something that's gonna fill your heart with joy and encouragement.
Yes.
I don't care if it's you know what I do? I watch the same stuff all the time. Why? Because I'm not really watching it. I just want something to look at because it's a habit. But I forbid myself that I'm gonna watch something that's gonna help me give me a vision of fear and intimidation. Because make no mistake, we are energetic spiritual beings. So that means that if you're watching something on TV, even with the volume down,
Right.
that energy is coming through.
Yes. Yes.
And you look up at it, you can't unsee stuff.
Right.
I can
And you can't unknow it.
I can
Yes.
still see George Floyd getting murdered right on television. I can still see that. And that happened last year. I can still see that in my mind's eye. That's when I turned that doggone TV off. I think it was, yeah. I was like, good Lord Jesus. I'm like, let me get it. Because it just kept feeding and kept feeding and it programmed and it programmed. So, you know, ladies and gentlemen, we're just asking you, this is the year of positive change. Be the change you want to see. Be the change you want to see. And the only way that you can do that is by changing the way you're thinking, what you're listening to, what you're saying, and what you're feeling. You have to do that. Do that work. Start building that ark of safety for you so that you will be able to help other people from becoming other things from becoming extinct. That's what the ark was. Because you tell me, what's the definition of the ark again, Michelle? Go ahead.
It is a vessel or a sanctuary that serves as a protection against extinction.
A vessel and sanctuary.
Or sanctuary that serves as a protection against extinction.
Okay. Wow.
And so God is just protecting us from dying out.
And y'all can take that however way you want to take it. You know, I'm just trusting on you, Lord. But then you watching all that stuff that's infusing your soul with fear. Your soul is your mind, your will, and your emotions. Yeah. So you're watching the television. It's telling you what type of vision you need to have.
Right.
Noah, in spite of people laughing at him, he built it. He walked in communion with God. And when God told him, okay, it's time to load up everybody, that's when the rain began to pour. That's when something new that someone had never been experienced before. You know what just popped in my head, Michelle? We got 2 minutes. What? In the last days, I will pour out my spirit on all flesh.
Mm-hmm. My sons and their daughters, they shall prophesy. We are walking in the prophetic realm, and you don't have to be a prophet to walk in it. You just have to be able to see. The greatest thing about a prophet is not what they say, it's what they see. Mm-hmm. And so we've got to change our vision. We've got to move from eyesight to insight.
Right.
And insight.
Right. Right.
We've got to see internally instead of externally.
Right. Right.
And we've got, and it's like a gift. It's like God has His open hands right in front of us.
If you are courageous enough to really say, okay, God, I am open to receive, and lean in the direction of what He's showing you. Hmm. And it may be something you've never seen or felt before. But if you trust God, He'll remind you, wait a minute, you asked me. You asked me. He's doing a new thing, ladies and gentlemen. He is. Yep. And something new is something you never experienced, seen, or felt before. Rain. The rain is coming down. Yeah, it's coming down. My love week, girl. I got to get up off here because KP Media going to kick me off. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Social media, thank you for your comments. Thank you so much for your shares. Thank you, guys. Now, if you are coming in late on social media or even on KP Media TV. Not to worry, not to worry. You can go to my social media page. You can go to Michelle's social media page, and you'll be able to watch it again. And then you can go out to KP Media on their network channel, and you'll find my app, and you'll be able to watch it there too. Watch the video on demand. We want to thank you guys so much for your comments, for watching, for sharing. We want to thank you guys for your prayers and encouragement. Keep sending that energy our way. We are feeling it. Co-host, thank you so much for being the great and mighty conduit of spirit. Girl, yeah.
Namaste. I'm about to divine presence in you.
Yeah. We got to greet everybody, but we're going to end it this way. We bow to each and every one of you. Guys, join us Friday, right along with Vanessa Morning Show, right here on the KP Media TV Network or on my Facebook page, right along with Vanessa Morning Show. Join us here also next Sunday for another episode of Spiritual Speaking. We're going to be talking about Noah. We're still talking about the ark. We're still talking about the flood, because there's some nuggets still there that I know and feel that Spirit wants to impart to us through this great and mighty woman of our Creator God. Yeah. The great and what I call you, great co-host Michelle Massey Washington. Michelle the Motivator. So we want to thank you guys so much again. Co-host, I'll see you next week.
Yes.
All right. Thank you guys so much. And until next week, stay in love. Hello, everyone. It is a new year, new season, new everything. So join me Friday on the Right Along with Vanessa Morning Show for another exciting topic and another word that's going to bring you the raw, real enlightenment and encouragement that you need for 2021. Join me, won't you? Stay in love. Thank you for enjoying the show. If you have an awesome product or service that you would like Vanessa to promote, go to www.vanessaklinger.com/show sponsor, and we'll get back to you. We have monthly sponsorship programs, ad slots, all kinds of wonderful, great things to promote your product or service. Contact Vanessa today. Today.